Yo, what up guys, Beside here with a special video from the Noob to Pro series, an account I started over 270 days ago with the ultimate goal of getting Lydia the Death Siren by beating all the faction war stages. In this video, I want to talk about 5 things that will stop you or serve as an hindrance that will stop you from getting Lydia, that will stop you from completing your faction war, beating all those difficult bosses. So if you follow these 5 things, I'm sure you'll be able to get it. I've not obtained her yet. I'm currently experiencing these 5 challenges in raid right now, and by sharing it with the community, maybe you can change out some habits, stop doing it, so you can lead your way towards getting Lydia easier. So I'll get into the video, but before I do, let me quickly inform anybody watching these videos. This Noob to Pro series, like I said, was to get Lydia, and it has carried all the way by beating campaign dungeons, and now it's getting almost to the end game stages where we are fighting only faction war. Or whenever I have to talk about faction war, that's when I want to put out a video on this account. So I thought about this one. Even if I wasn't able to take down this Dark Elves faction today, I knew the exact reason why I wasn't prepared before the faction came up today. So the number one reason that might stop you from getting Lydia, it's not related to that particular faction, it has to do with shards, champions. Let's be honest, if you don't have the right champions for each of these factions, if you don't have the right champions, specific champions, it could be healers, could be revivers, could be even damage dealers, AoE stun, any champion that is required to beat that faction, if you don't have those key champions, you might have it difficult. How do you obtain them? From shards. So that's my first point. Pulling shards without a 2x event is a no-no if you're not at that point where you don't have your faction war down. I know that it's common these days to pull for a 1+1 event like most people are doing this weekday. It's also common for people going for 15x events, 10x events, different things that are going on that require you to pull these shards, right? So if you chase after every event, whenever you see the portal glowing, you just go over there and summon it, you're still not end game as long as I'm concerned. So that's for end game players to pull their shards when they want, or for spenders to do so. If you're one of those players who obtain a primer, you pull it immediately, obtain a void, you pull it immediately. Get ready for those rares and rares and rares that you will trash. Sometimes factions are more easier to complete with only epics, a full team of epics. You don't even have to get crazy legendaries. They do make it easier, but one way to ensure that you are ready to get your leader as fast as possible, so it doesn't take you 3 to 4 to 5 years like some people play that long before they finally obtain that legendary champion. She's not even the prize goal. Let's not even go about that. Let me just stay on the point right here and talk about the shards, which is the number 1 point. Please pull your shards only on 2x event. A 2x event is one of those ones that boosts your chances of getting legendaries from 0.5% to 1%. It's still a low chance, but it's the best chance you have of getting a legendary. It boosts your chances of getting epic champions from Ancients and Void from 8% to 16%. That's the best time to pull these shards, and that's exactly what this Noob to Pro has been saving all these shards you see here for. If it's not a boosted chance of getting epics or legendaries from these shards, I'm not going to be pulling it. So that's the number 1 point. If you want to get enough epics or enough legendaries in raid to complete faction wars, you have a lot of champions from different factions to obtain, and there are some of them that are key. I'll give you an example for some of them. Let me say recently I obtained this legendary champion, or it's an epic champion, Stag Knight. He is key for this faction. So that's just one example that I can call out, because the Banner Lords, as we know it, is full of trash. Let me say another one right here is an epic champion. She is key because she's a reviver in this faction. So that's just some key example. If you're stuck with champions like Sir Archmage, and you end up not being able to build or beat this faction easier, you're getting epics like this or you're just getting rares, you're not even getting epics, you keep pulling your void shards or ancient shards, you just keep getting rares and rares, you miss out on opportunity to get these 2 champions like I just said that are key right here. Same applies to a lot of factions where I have the key champions. I just have to find the time to build them and get them down. Even if you don't have legendaries for some factions, some of them are just key. Like if you're lucky enough to get a Godseeker in this faction, it's done. This faction is done. But I will use legendaries to help me with this one, so that's not a problem. So that's the first point. Keep your shards for 2x events. That's one way to make sure you always have those key epics. Even if you keep pulling the epics and then you keep getting duplicate copies of trash ones, one day you'll get the key ones that will help you. That's the first point. The second point is to stay out of champion training. Like, let's say you stay out of champion training, or you're not leveling up your faction war champions. That's the second point. One key mistake that will make you, take forever to beat faction war and obtain Lydia. So if you've seen my faction war series, I'm always talking about I do not like to struggle. Whenever I come into a faction like this, let me give you an example right here. I only have 2 keys to spend, but let me just give you an example right here. Whenever I come into a faction, this is what I mean by do not stay out of champion training. By coming into this faction, you have 5 champions who are already level 60. How did I achieve it? By taking this champion into campaign and farming campaign. It just makes your job easier. It makes you less struggling with your gear, less struggle with your artifacts, less struggling with your accessories, less struggles with your even masteries. Some champions like this who are level 60 might not even need masteries to help them survive longer. It makes your build better. It doesn't make you struggle for stats. That's the main thing. So by not bringing a bunch of level 50s, sure, they can do it, but it's always a struggle. So that's one way to boost your champion's survivability and damage, and overall make this your work easier right here. Don't shy away from the campaign. Whenever I see a champion training tournament that goes on like the last one that just concluded, I went ahead and got the legendary skill tome, not because I have all the time in the world or anything. I just knew that I will need to build champions. Where is it? Champion chase. It has already ended and disappeared, I think. Yeah, it's gone. But whenever I see a champion training tournament, I go for it and I make sure I get that legendary skill tome that is listed right here all the way to the end, not just because I need the legendary skill tome, but also because I'm trying to level up champions that will eventually get me my Lydia. So if I go to the Dwarves faction right here, why I'm not pushing for it is because all the champions right here are still very low level except one. So I'm not pushing for this one because there's no need to struggle right now. Once I'm beginning to take this champion to 60, this champion to 60, that's when I'll come in here and begin to push it further. So if the champions in the faction are not yet level 60, I'll keep repeating this stage. I will not try to push it further because that will be a struggle until they are level 60. So that's the second point. Please don't stay away from champion training. That's how you make these 5-star chickens, 4-star chickens that will require to make those champions more survivable in the faction. If you are strong-headed, you might go into that faction with a bunch of level 50 and take it down. Good luck to you. I don't want to be one of those people that are struggling to do that. I even get masteries on my champion before I take them in there if they need it. So that's the second point. Please go into the campaign right here, farm it, level food, make your champion 60, and make your work at the getting Lydia a lot easier. It will make it a lot longer, but guess what? By farming that campaign, you get a lot of silver to go along with this your champion build that you will do. All right, number 3 point. Going for every fusion is something you should not do when you are so focused on trying to get Lydia. Right now, there is a crazy fusion going on for this legendary champion that we all voted for his skills, who is Wixwell, Vault Keeper Wixwell. This account is not going for this fusion. It's not because we don't have the shards or we don't have the time. We could have done it, but I just felt like if he's not a champion that will help me get Lydia, I didn't want to chase for it. I already said it before. Sacred Order is taken care of with the 2 legendaries you saw there, with the bunch of epics I have. So he is not needed for this faction. Now, if it was for a fusion, was a faction that I found difficult. It just saw me open the this faction right here. No, that's not it. Dwarves faction. I don't have legendaries right here. Right? I don't have legendaries, just a bunch of epics. Not even enough. I'm still using this rare. So if I found a legendary for a fusion that was from the Dwarves faction, that would be one that I will be so focused for. I will chase for, because why? That fusion champion will get me some, assistance right here to take down this faction. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to right now, that any fusion that is coming up, if it's not going to help me towards pushing this faction, I'm not going for it. So example is Barbarian, when I boldly missed out on what's his name now, this Barbarian faction champion that has the stun. I missed out on it because now he's going crazy, doing crazy things in the arena, yes, but I purposely missed out on it because I did not want to go for him, or I did not need him for that Barbarian faction. Is already down. Yeah, it's Aman's. So I purposely missed out on Aman's fusion because he is Barbarian, but I have already taken down Barbarian faction. So by taking a break from Aman's fusion, I was able to take my time and focus on other things like more campaign, more silver farming, and so on. So that's something you have to decide. If the champion will help you in that faction that you find difficult, go for that fusion. If the champion will not help you at all, or is a faction you found easy, or is a faction you've already taken down, at this level where you're trying to get Lydia, there is no point to chase for that champion. Sure, they're used in arena, sure, they're used in a lot of other places. That's one reason to go for them. But if you're super hyper focused on getting Lydia, you ignore everything else in the game like I am doing and get him. Maybe one day eventually you obtain him from shards, but it's not something I want to push for everything. Pushing for everything in raid doesn't end well, especially if you're free to play and you don't have endless resources. You simply don't have everything you need to go for everything at the same time. It just makes your chances of getting Lydia a lot longer. So that's a two-way street right here. Going for every fusion is not for you if you have limited resources. Going for every fusion will make you get Lydia a lot longer, and except you're a spender who doesn't mind. But I will go for only fusions that will help factions that I find difficult, or factions that will have scanty champion pools. That legendary for that fusion will help me. If it's not going to help me, I'm not going for it. So like Dark Elves right now has only the last boss to go. If a Dark Elves fusion comes around, I'm not going for it, because this is content I can take down once I build one more champion. So let me end it right here for this particular point. The next number 4 points that will stop you from getting your Lydia eventually done is neglecting Classic Arena. So while Classic Arena, you see it has nothing to do with faction wars, right? It has no coloration. Well, guess what? Whenever you're fighting, well, not just Classic Arena, Arena in general, you have some stat boosts that is applied to every content, including faction wars. If I give you an example, like fighting Classic Arena, I'm farming. As I beat more battles, I'm winning battles, I'm getting these gold medals. What do I use for the gold medals? I go over there to this Great Hall and spend the gold medals to give me stat boosts, accuracy boost plus 80, accuracy boost plus 50, accuracy boost plus 50. It applies to every champion. Another stat that is essential in most faction war stages or boss stages is this resistance. I'm getting 40 resistance. It applies to all my magic champions. 20 resistance applies to all my spirit champions. So as you fight more arena battles, you have more gold medals or silver medals to spend here. If your affinity bonus is looking scanty and empty or only bronze, you are missing out on a lot of stats. So imagine if I had just 0 accuracy right here. It's not giving me any accuracy boost, but because I had 10 for magic champions, there all my magic champions are getting plus 80 accuracy even before you put banner on them. If you don't yet have good banners, plus 80 accuracy is amazing. You just have to push a little bit more on them and they are fine to now build on other stats. So this is a key feature or a key area in raid that will help you get that stats boost required to make faction war battles a lot easier. Else you will struggle if your affinity bonus is not looking good. So that's something that I come in here every time I see battles in Classic Arena. I do spend my keys or my arena tokens daily, hit that refresh, look for easy battles. If I don't find them, I just hold on and refresh again. So it's very important to get these gold medals or silver medals and fight your battles daily. Another place that these days is recent in raid is this live arena. As you fight more live arena battles, whether you win or lose, you win some, you lose some, it's normal. That one also gives you some more great area bonuses this time around. If you're focused on Demon Lord, put it on that. But if you're so focused on where is it? Faction wars, you can also begin to put a little bit of stats on faction wars. I'm focused on speed because if my faction war champions are fast, we'll run laps around the enemies and it will be a lot easier battles. So instead of me to focus on Fire Knight, Demon Lord, and more important content, I guess for this account right now, the only important content is faction wars. That's why I'm going to be putting some stats, and I'm focusing on speed first before maybe I'll go to resistance on accuracy. Damage is not an issue. Surviving is an issue in those type of content and going fast. So I will be farming live arena, get these medals. What do they call them now? Live arena crest, and yeah, spend it right here. Even if it's just bronze crest, spend it in the little levels. Right now I've gotten 2 speed. The next level I'll get 4 speed on every champion I take into that live arena. So that's going to be a boost that is applied to them automatically. All you have to do is spend your keys daily. You don't have to use your gems for this live arena and classic arena 2 content. You just have to use those free refills that they give to you. Check out the refill right here. You have a lot of refills to spend over there. And as for this 3v3 arena, it's not important for faction war purposes. You just have to focus on those 2, live arena and classic arena. Don't neglect classic arena. That's my number 4 point. Hopefully that one drives home. It's not only your faction war that benefit from you fighting the classic arena. You see that as you put all those great hall or area bonuses, right, affinity bonuses, it also applies to every other content. So that's going to be a double bonus for you to benefit from. And finally, for the last point of something that will definitely stop you from getting Lydia if you keep doing it, is how you manage your gear and silver. Gear and silver. I'll give you an example because I'm applying all these 5 points I just named from you is something that this account is currently struggling with and trying to defeat. I'm sure that this 5 points might also apply on other content in Raid, but right now I'm trying to tailor it towards only faction wars. So gear and silver management, if I just open my inbox, you saw me with excess gear because right now I do not have space anymore. So what do I mean about gear and silver management? I'm currently at 6 million silver, which means I cannot do anything today. Even if I want to build a champion that is supposed to help me take down this Dark Elves faction, just one champion, 6 million silver is not going to help me build a champion that was supposed to help me take down this last boss and get this legendary skill tome. So that's where silver management comes in, and gear management in general. So if you don't save up silver, a faction comes up, you have the champions, you have the gear, you simply don't have the silver to put into that champion and build him for that content and beat that damn boss once and for all. You're just there stuck and looking at, oh, when will this faction come up again? Because when this rotation goes around, I don't know, a week or 2 later before this Dark Elves will open again for me to fight it again. So it's a battle, it's an ongoing struggle that whenever you see a faction that is open right here, even if Dark Elves is closed, it's always recommended to build that champion you knew was supposed to help you take it down. Even if Dark Elves is closed, keep it at your back of your mind, save all the silver for that last champion so that by the time it reopens again, you can always come in here and fight it. So that's about silver management. So as for gear management, this account has come to the crossroads where 5-star gear is no longer the way to go. Every account gets to that point where you fight dungeons for a long time, you fight, clan boss for a long time, you begin to get excess gear. When I say excess gear, it's because your inbox is full, 1005 or 1005. This is where gear management comes in, that I'm beginning to sell 5-star gear. When you go right here and you do priority and check all your 5-star gear, if you have a lot of 5-star gear, if I sell everything right here, it's not the way to do it. You have to begin to sell the trash ones. You have to begin to sell the mid-level, the rare ones maybe. Don't go crazy because you want to create more space to begin to get new 6-star gear so you don't overflow. So this is something I will do soon. I will do soon, starting with gear sets that I find a lot of, like these ones. I'm beginning to farm the Ultra Nightmare, so I'm beginning to sell a lot of 5-star and keep only 6 stars for gear sets like this that I have duplicate copies of, gear sets that are easily obtainable, perception that I know is easily obtainable. There's no need to keep many copies of it that are 5-star. So I'll begin to sell it, and this is where gear management comes in. Hopefully that gives me some silver so I can go over there and begin to also claim all this one, because see, right now everything is full. So with making this free space will make me go into the Dragon or Fire Knight and even farm more content and farm more gear, 6-star gear, that is, because we are slowly trying to get into hard mode of Dragon. At least I'm tired of normal mode, so it's time to go to the hard mode and begin to get a little bit higher chances of getting 6-star gear. So that's the point I have to make about gear and silver management. Look at your account. If you're running out of space all the time, it's probably because at this point in the game you should not be keeping 6-star gear. It's a hard decision to look at your you should not be keeping 5-star gear. I know it's a hard decision to look at your 5-star gear and sell all of it. Don't do it that way. Simply look at them and sell the ones that you know are just bad. When I talk about the stats, I'll give you an example of one. This is an example of a bad one. I kept this one because it has crit rate, right? Yes, it has crit rate, but it's a rare and it has a flat HP. This is an instant sell. In the early game, this is going to be one of your best weapons because it has 70% crit. But at this level, I probably have other weapons that have a higher crit than 70%. I'll check. Before you sell it, maybe you want to check. Even if it's not from the crit damage set, quickly go to weapons, filter substats for crit rate, right? And let me do crit as priority. Priority stats, crit rate high. That's not high enough. Where is it? I just want to see one. That's 70%. Okay, that's the one I want to sell. Where is it? Where is it? I just need one to show that I have crit rate at this point in the game so I can sell that one. Damn. I don't have a double roll of crit. Not even one double roll of crit. That's why maybe I held on to that one. I've not rolled some up more than level 4 though, so maybe when I roll them past level 4 I'll find it. That's one. That's 17%, and this one even has attack to go along with it and accuracy to go along with it. So I guess I can go ahead and sell this one that I say is a rare one and has a flat HP right here. So that's these little choices you make can give you more space to go over there and bring in a 6-star to replace. Let me look for a weapon that is a 6-star one. Boom, now you have space for a 6-star weapon instead of a 5-star weapon. 5-star gear is not all bad, don't get me wrong, but at some point you have to now begin to decide how much they are worth it in terms of space and storage and usage over 6-star gear that you are not, that you're not yet using or that are not on your champions. All right, that's the 5 points I think is holding back the Noob to Pro from smashing the faction wars and getting Lydia, so I can give this damn account away as soon as possible, because that's the only thing that is holding me back. These 5 things that I've listed out is holding me back from getting Lydia. It's not time. I have all the time in the world. It's just that I'm saving all my shards for 2x events. I'm trying to stay in the campaign and get all the champions to 60 before I beat the content. I'm not going for every fusion on this account. I'm not neglecting Classic Arena because I know my Great Hall needs to be improved. And also I'm managing my gear and silver to save up to level up champions, put gear on them, take the gear to 16 and beat all this content. Hopefully you found this one useful. This one was always dedicated to those newer players who are moving in slowly into raid and beginning to get the groove of things. If you're stuck at this level, now you know what to do and what's holding you back. Don't give up. Lydia is yours, and yes, she's worth all the trouble. You see her being used everywhere in raid, and she's definitely worth it. I can't wait to obtain this champion so you can mark this off your list of things you need to do in raid and begin to focus on other bigger content like City of Centranos or like Doom Tower. For now, this is the focus on the Noob to Pro, and I just wanted to bring out this one for you guys so you guys can learn something from this series that is still going on and still teaching something along the way. I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what is stopping you from obtaining your Lydia. I'd love to know, besides these 5 points that I just mentioned, is there anything that I did not call out that will definitely serve as a hindrance from you getting your Lydia? If you already obtained your Lydia, congrats. Let me know in the comments below how you did it and how this account can, adapt and follow your guide and see if you can obtain it as soon as possible. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, guys.